Jay Swift here. I want to talk to you today about the recent passing of a certain iconic technology person, guy. Got the Thursday copy of the New York Times here. Let's read this here. It's the obituary page. And look who's on it. Yeah, some guy. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. His name is Stephen Paul Jobs. Apparently he ran some company. They did something with computers. Apple, I think. Well, anyway, if you're sitting here reading this, and I've got another one, actually an older paper from when Mr. Jobs resigned earlier this year. I'll kind of go over as well. The thing is, all day I've been, as everyone else has, bombarded with all these well-wishers talking about how Jobs was such a visionary and a guy that forever changed the infrastructure of electronics and information, and he was the greatest thinker since Thomas Edison. And actually that's kind of ironic because Jobs actually does have a lot of similarities with Thomas Edison. And if you've ever seen The Prestige, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But the thing is, this guy, he's such a visionary. He's a genius. He was ahead of the curve. He did so much for technology. I'm not going to criticize the guy. I'm not going to speak ill of the dead. But the thing is, I think the guy gets way too much credit for what he does, and a lot of times we're kind of overlooking a lot of the horrible, horrible things he has done. But you just see this all day. Eye sad, eye depression, to the point where I don't care. Get it? I don't. But anyway, yeah, there's more on that in case you haven't seen it. I actually have an article here from earlier in the year. It's also from the New York Times, from when Jobs retired, and it's actually a giant 2-page spread here. Take a look at all this. Kind of going over all the things that he supposedly created. Oh boy. Let's see what we have here. The thing that really kind of struck me was there's actually a listing here for a patent he holds on a translucent glass staircase. So I guess you could say he used that to climb the stairway to heaven. High heaven. On an iCloud. Yeah. So anyway, they're just showing all this stuff of operating systems, clasps, this idea for mice. And the entire time we were going through this whole Steve Jobs mournathon, I was reminded of a book that came out in 2000 by a guy named Alan Deutschman called The Second Coming of Steve Jobs, which is something that I think everyone should read, even if you're not really into technology or not really into Apple, or you just don't care about Steve Jobs in general. It's a very fascinating character portrait of a guy who has been canonized by millions of people that never ever leave Starbucks. And the thing is, the guy was really, really sort of paranoid and almost bipolar. It's extremely egotistical and manipulative, according to Deutschman. Basically there's a segment in there where he talked about how he would go to employees' houses and basically try to kick in their door to get them to change their mind about products. There's actually a story I heard where allegedly he wanted to hold some of the employees hostage until they agreed with him on a certain proposition. So yeah, it's called Second Coming of Steve Jobs, Alan Deutschman. Definitely need to check it out. In fact, maybe you can even get it on like a Kindle or a tablet, so it'll be super ironic when you read it. But at the end of the day, the reason why I really, really, really don't like Steve Jobs, or didn't like Steve Jobs, and if you're in his family, actually I don't care, but the thing that I don't like about him is this guy made billions upon billions of dollars. And say what you will about Bill Gates. I don't like Bill Gates. He has a stupid haircut, stupid glasses, and the Xbox kind of sucks. But the thing is, the dude has spent billions of his own money for charitable causes. Now, whether or not that's for self-service or self-interest is kind of beyond the point. The fact of the matter is the dude is like a super humanitarian. Maybe he eats people too, but I don't know. But Steve Jobs, for all the money he has made, you don't see him, with these foundations. And I'm sure he spent some money on charitable causes, but nowhere to, I think, the degree that he could have. And the one thing that turned me against Steve Jobs, and this is something you will not see in any memorial or any tribute, which I think tells you everything you need to know about this guy as a human being, is the guy pretty much, allegedly, I can't confirm this 100%, but look it up on the internet. Go to Google, type in Steve Jobs liver transplant. The dude basically paid his way to the top of the list, allegedly, to get a liver transplant. And to me, that means that this guy used his clout and his financial will and his, green ammunition to basically buy himself some time. So somewhere out there was like an 18-year-old kid or some, college female out there that had their entire lives ahead of them. But because Steve Jobs had so much money from the iPad and the iPod, he was able to kind of jump to the front of the line. And to me, that is inexcusable. That's the kind of thing that makes a character of such ill repute that I really can't look at their death as something that's just sorrowful. And, there's plenty of guys out there in the cult of Apple that will disagree with me. But not saying that he's an awful human being all around. I'm just saying there's conflicting rumors, allegations, and some flat-out proofs to kind of say that maybe he's not the patron saint or Messiah of Silicone Valley that everyone is making him out to be. So basically what I wanted to say is, once again, we're dealing with the great man myth. The whole idea that there's one person out there that's the head of the game that changes everything and is responsible for all these changes to the structure and technology. When the fact of the matter is, it's way more complicated than that, and so on and so forth. So, that's pretty much all I have to say. Yeah, Steve Jobs. He's dead. Kind of like the battery to a computer, which is kind of... Yeah, I'll stop on that.